Hello and welcome back to Everything Boats with Captain Franklin here, where we discuss boats and boating, from maintenance and repairs to seamanship and safety, as well as everything in between. This podcast is a companion to my YouTube channel of the same name, so if you like and find it useful, be sure to subscribe and please check out my YouTube channel as well, where you'll find hundreds of informative videos on pretty much every boating topic imaginable. Today's podcast, how to handle an engine compartment fire. The most natural reaction to an engine compartment fire is also the worst, opening up the hatch to see what's going on in there. Doing so provides a rush of oxygen that could easily turn a smoldering fire into an abandoned ship type conflagration. The safest approach to contain and extinguish an engine compartment fire is installation of either a fire port or an automatic fixed extinguisher system. Here's a look at both options and how they work, along with installation considerations for each. Let's start with fire ports. The American Boat and Yacht Council, ABYC, recommends that all inboard and stern drive vessels not protected by a fixed fire extinguishing system have a suitable means of discharging fire extinguishing agent into the space without opening the primary access panels. Fire ports are small hatches or ports that allow you to discharge a portable clean agent fire extinguisher directly into the engine compartment or engine room without opening access panels and providing that additional rush of oxygen to the fire. Note that the term clean agent, which simply means the extinguishing agent leaves no residue behind, more on this in a moment, the dry chemical powder extinguishers typically found on board are effective, but the powder is also highly corrosive and the residue is difficult to remove from your engine. In some cases, dry chemical residue can actually cause more damage to the engine than the fire itself. Of more importance from a firefighting standpoint, however, is that dry chemical extinguishers have to be aimed at the base of the flame to be effective, something that's likely impossible when using a fire port in a cramped engine compartment. Installation considerations. Fire ports are simple to install. You simply select a suitable location and, using the pattern provided by the manufacturer, drill or cut the mounting hole. Seal any exposed coring to prevent moisture entry, then mount the fire port per the instructions. For gasoline-powered vessels, mount the fire port as close to the carburetor as possible for maximum effectiveness. When selecting a portable fire extinguisher for use with your fire port, ensure that the port is large enough to accept the extinguisher discharge nozzle. The extinguisher must also be able to be properly discharged in accordance with the manufacturer's instruction, such as a vertical discharge position, and be sufficiently sized to service the entire engine compartment. Fixed fire suppression systems. While the use of a fire port and a portable extinguisher is preferable to opening an engine compartment to fight a fire, this option does have a number of drawbacks. One, the rate of discharge, distribution, and effective concentration of extinguishing agent is less. Number two, fire detection and action depends on human intervention. Number three, the crew member or operator must ensure the discharge of the agent is continuous and complete. And number four, the longer discharge time required to empty a portable unit into a space gives the fire more time to produce additional toxic fumes and byproducts before being extinguished. A fixed fire extinguishing system, by comparison, provides quick automatic discharge of extinguishing agent as soon as the trouble starts. Automatic is the key word here, but the system should also include a manual discharge control located outside the engine compartment. This enables immediate discharge of the system in the event you or a crew member spots the fire before the auto discharge mechanism kicks in. How they work? Automatic extinguishers use mechanical triggers, glass, metal, etc., which break or melt at a predetermined temperature, typically around 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Extinguishing agent is then released, flooding the entire engine compartment and extinguishing the fire, as opposed to the point-and-shoot method required when a portable dry chem extinguisher is used. Halon was the clean agent extinguishant of choice for putting out engine compartment fires in the past. However, it is also an ozone-destroying chlorofluorocarbon, and as such, its production has been banned since the mid-1990s. If you have a halon system, note that it can still be used as long as the system passes its annual inspection. Today's fixed systems typically use FM-200 or FE-241 as a fire suppressant, and while both work, neither are as effective as halon. Like halon, high concentrations of FM-200 and FM-241 are deadly. However, pre-engineered units contain amounts that are below toxic levels when installed in the size compartment they are designed to service. Fixed fire suppression systems can be customized for your particular vessel, but most boaters will simply buy a pre-engineered, off-the-shelf system, which is both cheaper and easier to install. Planning your installation. The first step in planning a fixed system installation is determining what size unit is required to adequately service your engine compartment. Start by calculating the cubic volume of the engine compartment, which can be found by multiplying compartment length times width times height. If the space contains fuel, water, or holding tanks, you can calculate their gross volume and subtract from the overall cubic volume of the engine compartment, giving you its net volume. Another option is to ignore the space taken up by installed equipment. Doing so provides an additional margin of safety by providing more extinguishing agent. Once you've calculated engine compartment volume, refer to the manufacturer's specifications to choose the right size unit. If your engine compartment opens to an adjoining bilge or compartment, you'll have to add its volume to the engine compartment's volume prior to selecting a system. Select a size that meets or exceeds your requirements, and if in doubt, go larger. A good pre-installation tip is mounting a thermometer in the engine compartment and measuring the temperature during normal operation. Engine compartment temps are typically around 130 degrees. However, a poorly ventilated or well-insulated compartment can exceed the temperatures required to discharge the system. Cylinders for larger fixed systems are typically mounted vertically on the forward or aft bulkhead, while the smaller cylinders for pre-engineered systems can be installed either vertically with the sensor discharge port up or horizontally on an engine compartment bulkhead or overhead, depending on the unit. Although you'll always want to follow specific manufacturer's instructions when installing a fixed system, here are some general guidelines that can be applied to most any installation. Number one, install cylinders and controls so they are protected from weather and mechanical damage. Cylinders must be securely mounted and accessible for maintenance, such as removal for weighing, inspection, and the like. Number two, if mounting the cylinder on a bulkhead, locate it as high up as possible and as close to the center line as possible, with the actuator pointing towards the opposite bulkhead or the engine itself. If mounted on the engine compartment overhead, the actuator should be in the center of the compartment with the cylinder parallel to the keel, the top facing the bow, the actuator pointing down. Having the unit centered and up high helps ensure the sensor will more readily detect a fire from all points of the compartment and quickly discharge, blanketing as much of the space as quickly as possible. Number three, don't mount the unit on the underside of a hatch or an access door, which could be blown open or off in the event of an explosion. And avoid locating sensors near engine exhaust manifolds, turbochargers, or other engine components that could cause the unit to discharge due to radiated heat. Number four, don't mount the extinguisher near exhaust or intake vents, which could delay discharge by reducing engine compartment temperatures near the sensor. Number five, ensure the system is installed so that it doesn't trap or rest in water, which could lead to corrosion. And number six, never combine the volume of two smaller, separate cylinders in efforts to meet the volume of a single cylinder. The two cylinders could discharge at different times, failing to blanket the compartment with high enough concentration of extinguishing agent to extinguish the fire. As mentioned earlier, all automatic installations should be equipped with some type of manual discharge control, the most common being a pull cable and release mechanism. The pull handle should be installed near the helm if possible, but outside the engine compartment in any case. Route the cable between the pull handle and cylinder with as few bends as possible. If installing the handle at the helm, following the steering or engine control cable runs works well in many cases. An audible and visual alarm at the helm to alert you in the event the system discharges is also desirable. Regardless if you use a fire port or an automatic fixed system, shut down the engine as soon as possible in the event of a fire. A running engine can pump suppressant out of the engine compartment while continuing to suck in fresh air. Most automatic units have an option for installing an automatic engine shutdown, another excellent idea that is often a manufacturer's requirement in the case of diesel engines. Many automatic extinguishing systems also have the ability to shut down additional equipment, such as generators or exhaust fans, to prevent venting of the extinguishing agent from the space. If your engine utilizes a mechanical shutdown, air or fuel starvation, discuss the options for converting it to an electrical shutdown system with the manufacturer. As a clean agent unit kills the fire without damaging the engine and components, boaters can often restart their engine and return to port on their own power once the initial cause of the fire has been corrected. As such, make sure you have the ability to bypass any shutdown systems installed in order to bring the engine back up once the fire has been extinguished.